Hello and welcome to another episode of Wake Up! I'm your host, the Real Dorkie Hero, and I just wanted to highlight really quick, yes, a lot of us grew up in the 90s. We had some really great shows, really great cartoons, but not everything about it was perfect. I'm here to tell you that verbatim. Let's see. Well, if you grew up like me, you're a big fan of explosions and violence. So you probably loved Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, am I right? You know, on Fox Kids every Saturday morning and shit? Yeah.
I watch that shit on weekdays in the afternoon.
Well, it wasn't as great as you think it was. As a matter of fact, it was completely watered down. We're here to talk about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, or Power Rangers in general, versus Super Sentai. Because Power Rangers is pretty much just, borrowed. It's very borrowed. Everybody loved the original, right? That seems, if you're watching this right now and you're not a big geek, you probably only liked Mighty Morphin. You one-dimensional weirdo. And I bet your favorite was, you know, Jason or even Tommy. Ugh. To get started, the original cast was Jason, Trini, Zach, Billy, and Kim. Not gonna mention that other guy right now. Those were 5 teens that were just abducted from a high school against their will, and the biggest selling point for them was that they were angsty. They were 5 teens with attitude, and some wizard guy in a fucking tube just gave them powers and a lot of responsibility for kids, sophomores. And they were just expected to, you know, protect the world or whatever. They didn't even have powers or anything like that. It was just Jason and Trini. Jason was a martial artist. Trini was somewhat of a martial artist. Zach could just dance. I guess that's connected. Billy got lucky. He would just run around and dodge shit and things would run into each other. I don't know. And then Kim was a gymnast. I guess that works too. And that's your Mighty Morphin lineup. I'm not missing anybody. No one at all. Meanwhile, on the Zyuranger side, because that's the name of the show that Power Rangers borrowed their shit from, the first season, I should say, it's spelled Z-Y-U. I know I said Zyuranger, but I'm not talking about the faith. That'd be pretty cool though, but no, that's not. Anyway, Zyuranger had Geki as the Tyranno Red Ranger. It had Goshi as the Mammoth Black. It had Boy, which is an interesting name, for the the Saber-toothed Tiger. It had Dan for the Triceratops, and it had May for the Pterodactyl. And those 5 were not just teens. They were actual really, really fucking old. They were about 170 million years old. That's crazy. They looked pretty good for million old people. I was gonna say millionaires, but that involves money, and they don't have money. They were really, really freaking old, and they were actually, quote, dinosaur evolved humans. I know I said that Mighty Morphin was cheesy. That was kind of cheesy too, but the cheese stops there. They were actual guardians. They were each part of a tribe, the Yamato tribe, and I don't remember the rest of them. But yeah, that's the differences between the core 5. Then you have Rita Repulsa. She was just trapped in a dumpster for over 10,000 years, as she says at the beginning, and she just wanted to conquer conquer Earth as soon as she was released. That's a weird way to say thank you to the astronauts that released her, but you're gonna do what you want to do. And that's pretty much the tall and short of it for her. I mean, I can go deeper into it, but we'll do that in the next episode. It'll make more sense. Assuming that there is one. They might drop me after this. It's kind of... Anyway, that was Rita Repulsa. That's the Mighty Morphin side. The Super Sentai side, the Zyuranger side, is... Her name is Bandora. Witch Bandora. She was a mystic, like she was a basic level witch. And she also was 170 million years old. She had a son named Kai, and Kai was a little brat. Now, Bandora was just like, you know, she was just cooling out, she was chilling. As a matter of fact, everybody in that era was just living with dinosaurs in harmony. Everything was fine. But her little shit of a son decided to go around smashing dinosaur eggs. As you can imagine, the dinosaurs weren't very pleased with that. And one T-Rex caught him in the middle of smashing an egg and chased him off the edge of a cliff. This has nothing to do with the Zyurangers at all, but she just She watched him die. She held him up and said, "This isn't over, dinosaurs. I swear I will get my vengeance upon you." And what did she do? She, like I said, she was a basic level witch, but she sold her soul to an ice head demon named Die Satan. That's pretty hardcore. She sold her soul to Die Satan, and he gave her powers. Lots and lots of powers. And for her, that was like instrumental in her getting her vengeance on the Zyurangers. If I remember correctly, she waged war with the wise sage Barza, who in the Mighty Morphin lore is the true form of Zordon. And they waged war, and they both did one final spell on each other. Barza got trapped on the planet for whatever, and what's her name? I forgot it already. Bandora got trapped in a dumpster as well. Now, Barza is the Zordon for Mighty Morphin. For Zyuranger. There is no Barza in the Power Ranger side. It is Zordon. Why am I going in circles? Anyway. So the major differences there is Rita was just a witch that had nothing better to do, sort of. And Bandora had her son killed, and she wanted to gain vengeance on the Rangers. Now, I'm going to address the guy that everybody seems to love so much. He's okay. You know what annoys me about him? I think his biggest selling point is that he sneezed on set. And it was a very violent sneeze. Something like that. And the director was like, "That was a really cool sound. Make that your fighting noise." And that's probably the biggest selling point for him, because he literally sounds like he's sneezing every time he's fighting. Don't get me wrong, I do kind of like the Green Ranger suit, but I don't like Tommy that much. Anyway, Tommy came a little bit later, and if you remember, he had like the shortest story. He was evil in the beginning, and then maybe 10 episodes later, he lost his powers. That's how they told it here in America. He just lost his powers. Tommy was just an exchange student or some shit, and he just joined the high school, and they're like, "Oh, hey, let's just grab him." Rita was like, "Let me grab him and make him a warrior," or whatever. In the Zyuranger side of things, Tommy doesn't exist. It is Burai. Burai is Geki's older brother. Burai is a hardcore badass. What his story is, him and Geki were both sons of a knight, like a knight of the Yamato tribe, and one day the knight wanted to just slay the king that was running shit, and the king was like, "Ha! You couldn't slay me. As punishment, I'm taking your son." And he stole his son. Speaking of Geki specifically, he kidnapped Geki. Geki was not even 1 yet. Or maybe he was. But Burai was 8 years old. Unable to cope with this, their father was like, I must have my son back. And they waged war on the king, and he died. And he was like, "I swear vengeance." As a matter of fact, no. He told Burai, like, you need to avenge my death and whatever. And then the king died sometime after that. And then all that was left was Geki. And Burai was like, "Well, this is your fault now. So I hate you, and I'm going to kill you." But it was too late by that point. After all the wars and everything was over, everybody went into sleep, hypersleep, until they were needed once again. So Burai was like, "Well, fuck that. I'm not gonna let you get away from me like that. I'm gonna go into hypersleep too after training for several years to come fight you." And that's how he became the Green Ranger. That's why he was so evil several years later. Now, the Megazord. Everybody knows and loves the Megazord. He's pretty cool. It's like, 5 dinosaurs that come together to make a giant hulking dude. In Power Rangers, that's all it is. It's just an empty robot made of dinosaurs. In Zyuranger, it is actually a god. I said that. He's a god. His name is Daijujin, and he is composed of the 5 guardian beasts that are also sentient, but they don't really talk. Even the Dragonzord is, well, he was sentient in Mighty Morphin 2, but like, he was just like a dragon that just walked around and shit. Dragon Caesar in Zyuranger is actually not just sentient, but he has emotions. He was actually very much connected to Burai. He was contributing to that war against the Rangers, and then when Burai died, he was actually heartbroken. It was actually a pretty good story. You should watch that. Burai died because, the cave that he was living in got crushed. It got ruined. Everyone else was safe in a building, underneath a building, in the basement of a building, being protected by Barza, who survived several million years. But Burai was in a cave, and his cave got tampered with, and it was crushed. As a matter of fact, Daijujin is so cold and calculating that he knew that at some point to make Ultimate Form him, or to make Super Saiyan God version of himself, he needed Titanus, as you guys know him, and he also needed Dragon Caesar. So what did he do? Since no one had access to Dragon Caesar but Burai, who was now dead, he summoned a demon, the god, summoned a demon named Clotho and said, find Burai and resurrect him. I need him to bring Dragon Caesar to me so we can fuse, and then you can do whatever you want with him. That's not only selfish, but kind of fucked, because he set into motion that whole, he revitalized the war that didn't need to happen. Good job, Daijujin. I have a tattoo of him on my arm, and actually, in this moment, I kind of feel dumb for having him there. Good job, Daijujin. Good job. Well then, that was the very first season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers versus Zyuranger. The first 50 episode of Power Rangers is all Zyuranger footage, which explains why a lot of things started to get weird in season 2, and I'll explain that to you later. But for now, thanks so much for tuning in. I really hope you woke up! Please like, share, and subscribe if you really did enjoy this. Give the other videos on this channel a good view. And until next time, we love dropping loads.